It's the Morning Star Drive 117.8. You soaring up with sky, now's the time, don't delay. I'm sitting in my ride and it's time to fly. So let's realign, just listen and fill your mind.
Hey guys, how is it going? And welcome to the Morning Star Drive on 117.8. It is Friday, April 12th, and so happy for you joining us. We are ready to start another day together with the Lord. So subscribe to us on YouTube, follow us on SoundCloud, and make sure to support us on Patreon. So today we have an exciting podcast for you. We have Until the End with Daniel Baker, the Wednesday Message Word Study, and of course commentaries, updates, and news on what is happening around the world in this history today. All right, everyone, how are you doing? And yes, very grateful, very thankful. It is the weekend. It's Friday. Thank God. And, don't forget we have a Q&A Thursday every week, so get those questions ready. Send them to me whenever you can. And for today's video, make sure you hit that like button. Just let me know that you're enjoying it and leave a comment to build our community. Just very happy for everyone joining us every weekday on the Morning Star Drive. So let's get up and support each other each and every day. So this week's Sunday message title is Only When You Take Action Will You Receive Even Blessings God Permitted. And of course we have a new title which is very, very similar but has to do more with value. And we'll get into it in the second segment of the day. So it is the weekend. I am excited, very thankful and grateful. For me, this was a week I think I felt like I was in a valley. You hit the peaks and the valleys in life. And this week was more like of a valley week. It wasn't even a week. It was like 3 days, right? And it was just kind of those moments of contemplation going into, thinking about things more deeply. And when you get yourself into that type of zone, when you go into the valleys, it could get dark, and mine didn't get that dark, but it's just, you get to contemplate, think deeply, you look at yourself, you self-reflect, and, sometimes it got a little bit dark. I'm going to be honest, it got a little bit dark. And, when you're in that mindset or that zone of contemplation, and then more things just end up popping up. And they're not even big things. They're not even huge things like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this is such a bad thing that happened. It's just something happens, and then for some reason you think that they're all connected. And you wonder, sometimes I'm like, is there a conspiracy going on against you kind of thing? It's just really, really weird. And, sometimes for me, I look back and like, and even in the moment, I'm just like, that's so stupid, Sky. Like, they're like such foolish thoughts. I sat there like, come on, honestly, really? And then it made me think really deeply, what got me out of it was I was thinking about all these things like, man, that sucks. Oh, that sucks. Oh, why? Woe is me. My life is like this kind of thing. And, I started to think about the things that God has given me or how much support I've received over the past 4 years. And, this is not something that's new, but I told you guys before that straight up I was, the pandemic was terrible for me. It was just terrible. Being alone inside a room and, it wasn't nice for me. I was going through some like big battles inside my heart. And I started to think about, wow, this is how much God has really given to me. And I start listing the things off in my head like, wow, God, like even within the last month, how much God has supported me even more. I was even more thankful, like, wow, that's so amazing. Yeah, that makes a little bit more sense. And I was even more thankful. And then I think to myself, I was like, Sky, why are you such an idiot, right? But I didn't use the word idiot. I used a little bit more, a stronger word, like, why are you being such a whatever, right? And I was like, come on, stop being stupid. But I'm gonna, even yesterday, I even had some doubts about internet ministry. Not internet ministry as a whole, but for me, my involvement and my YouTube channel, because I'm just like, is this really gonna work out? It's like, come on, like, God, I'll take a look at my stats, and before 4 weeks ago, I would be like, whoa, this is so great, this is so awesome, we're growing faster, we're growing greater, this, and this, and I'm just happy and excited by it. But, when you're not in the right mindset, you're kind of going to be stuck in that, dang, what's going on? Ugh, is this really working out? Is this really going to be my life? Like the rest of my life is really going to be like this? Or, man, like why are all these things coming against me kind of thing? And that's why I did that Sermons in the Sky yesterday too. And it was basically just Satan playing with my mind. Like I was feeling the stress, even though my lips were saying to me, come on, stop being like that, stop it. But in my heart, I felt the stress. I was really feeling the stress. My heart was pumping a bit stronger. I could feel the tension in my chest. And, when it's all said and done, I'm just kind of like, dude, it's like, you're getting stressed over something that wasn't even that bad kind of thing. And of course, as me being a man, when I talk to people, I don't really show it. I was like, yeah, whatever. It's just a feeling on the inside. I'm going to deal with it. But I had this great conversation with a friend yesterday. And, you call a friend, and I'm getting ready to kind of just vent. Like, and this, and that, and this, and that. And I was talking to my friend, and I know that this is a friend, so I'm not going to just, pour all this crap onto them. Just pouring all of on. But I genuinely a friend. So I'm like, hey, how's it going? How's life going? And they're like, well, they haven't been sleeping well. I was like, oh, really? I'm like, yeah, because of this, because of work, because of this. I'm like, oh, wow. And then they started going over the difficult things they were going through. And the crazy part was, this friend of mine going through I would say maybe 3 to 4 times more than me, I would say. Just looking at it, because I'm going, I listen to this person and and I want to be a true friend. So a true friend is not going to be like, this person's pouring their heart out to me and telling me all the difficulties they're going through. And I'm not going to make it a contest oh yeah, well this is what I'm going through. I don't want to do that. I have to be, to be a true friend. They're going through something. I got to help them through that thing. I got to, make sure that they're opening up to me, and I talk to them, and I'm going to support them. And I'm not going to even bring up what I'm going through. Nothing. I'm not going to bring up anything, because I want them to be doing well first. And as they're telling me these certain things, I'm like, wow. And then they're like, oh yeah, but I know someone else needed help, so I helped this person with some finances. This, and I was like, in my head, I was like, wow. I was really inspired. I was like, whoa, that's so crazy. You're going through all this stuff, and yet when someone else needs help, you're going to help them. And I was like, dang. I'm like, I'm inspired. This is great. This is amazing kind of thing. And it's almost like everything in my head just vanished. I was like, wow, that is inspiring. That is truly inspiring. And they're like, oh, so what's going on with you? And I didn't really explain a lot. I was just well, yeah, this happened to me today. And then they're straight up, they're like, hey, I can help you with that. I'm like, what? And it was so crazy. I was just like, wow. This person, they've just told me all the craziness they're going through, and yet they're willing to help. And I was just so inspired and so moved. And I realized, this is why I talked about this yesterday, the day before. It's so true that to live a longer life, the number one indicator is how strong of the relationships you have around you. It's the number one indicator. If you can only do one thing to make yourself live longer, that's what it is, to have strong relationships. And it's such a great thing to have someone to talk to, or to express your thoughts, or they express their thoughts to you, and you kind of feed off each other. So so that's for me. I was just like, wow, this is inspiring. I ended up being more inspired by my friend, and that kind of made all the other thoughts vanish in my head. So, for me, that's why, someone wrote in the comments Sky, you've been having a lot of brain farts lately. And I was like, yeah, I have, because just a bunch of stuff on my mind. I'm just going through this, and I guess it's just that time of the month for me. actually, this is the funny part. There's actually studies out there that talk about, there's the women have that 28-day cycle, like the menstrual cycle, right? And of course, hormonally imbalanced and stuff. It's a little bit more emotional. But they said men actually have a cycle too. It's not monthly though. They say the cycle that men go through are about biannually. Interesting, right? So for guys, men will have that similar type of like PMS every 6 months. So I thought to myself, as a man, I guess I'm going through mine right now. Like going through my PMS right now. So I'm like, everyone, leave me alone or I'll bite your head off. Like for me, it's like going, yeah, maybe I'm going through that type of thing right now too. But I would say that the things that are going to help us is going to be that relationship, that prayer we have with God, and also the relationships and the friendships we have around us that are going to make the biggest difference in our life. So yeah, that's kind of like my confession for the week. I'm like, yeah, that's kind of what I was going through. It wasn't like in the end, it wasn't a really big deal. It's just that when you tie up emotion and other stuff into it, you're like, why is it like this kind of thing, right? But that's just what I was kind of going through this week. My biannual PMS for a guy. Yeah. Well, you know what's kind of very interesting though? Like today is the 12th, but by the time we get back to our Monday programming, it's going to be the 15th, which means we're already hitting the halfway mark of April. We're already going to hit halfway, guys, after this weekend. So, man, we are pushing through this month so quickly. I have a thought of the day. Okay, I have a thought of the thought of the day. Okay, what's my thought of the day? So I wanted to get your thoughts on this, and I want to have like plenty of comments on this too. So, I've been in leadership for 21 years. From the time I came to Providence, being campus leader, lecturer, I was in charge of English ministries. I was a head leader. I did many different roles in leadership, right? And, I've been around the world so many times, being to different countries, experiencing different countries, how they lead, how they are, and stuff like that too. And there were many things that I started to think about. And when it comes, I'm someone who thinks about leadership all the time. And you guys know that, right? I talk about leadership, what we can do to train our leaders better and stuff like that too. But what I found so interesting for me is the dynamics between leaders and members. The dynamics in Asia compared to Western countries. Like, I just get to see it, and I'm just like, wow, it's so different. It blows my mind. And some things I'd be like, oh, I would never put up with that. But then I'm like, but that's completely different cultures. This is totally not about what is better. This is more about what is just the difference in culture and such. Because Western countries, like we have experienced the clash, especially when Sunseem sends over like touring pastors and stuff like that too. And I'm not saying all of them. We've had some great touring pastors come to America and Canada and stuff like that too. But I would say there are a lot that there's been tons of clashes just because it's a difference in culture. Like when, say, a Korean leader or Asian leader comes to tour or lead in a Western country, there is a clash in culture. That's just normal. And from my experiences, the testimonies from others, what I've heard, there have been so many clashes that some countries will even just tell Sunseem, don't send them anymore. It's far better for someone in that country to lead, not because the Asian leader is bad. It's different. And myself, I'm totally Western. You guys will know me. You guys know me. I am totally Western. My parents are Asian though, and I have that side of me too. But sometimes my mind is so blown when I see certain things happen in Asian countries, and my mind goes full Western. It does. It's like, for me, I'd look at that and say, how can you do that? Or how can you just let that happen? How can you let them say that to you, kind of thing, right? But then I'm like, in some situations, it's just better to be, I'll look at that and say, yeah, sometimes it's better to just let it go. You don't want confrontation. You would rather have peace and stuff. But then my Western side's like, no, I would confront it. I was like, whoa, you can't say that kind of thing, right? Or you can't tell me I can't or can do something. And I want to just ask about your thoughts. Doesn't matter if you're Asian or Western, African, European, whatever it is. What what do you notice that difference? Do you think there's a shift? Because I'll say remember, this is general. I'm not saying that every individual is like this, but generally speaking, when I look at like the Asian culture, whether it's Korea, Japan, Taiwan, Malaysia, Singapore, whatever countries that I've been to, I find that Asians are way more obedient, even for things that you don't even need to be obedient for. And it just seems like Asians are more comfortable going to a leader and asking for permission to do something. You know what I mean? Or if a leader says to you, no, then they're like, okay, and they just easily obey and they just don't do it. And sometimes the member will get, a leader will say something to a member and you don't even need a reason. Like, you won't even say why. Why not? Why can't I do this? What's your reasoning for this? Like, there's no discussion. They just kind of listen. Okay, all right, okay, thank you, and they'll go. And I noticed that. Remember, this generally speaking, this is kind of more of an Asian thing, and I think it's because there is part of the Asian culture is more high. There's way more hierarchy, right? There's way more. Listen to your elders. Listen to people in position, and they're the leaders are probably going to get their way, or the older people, the leaders will get their way more, even if they're wrong, they'll get that way. I'm not saying it's like that situation all the time, but that's kind of the con. There's pros and cons for everything. And for Westerners, of course, in the eyes of Asians, because there's way more Asians in Providence than Westerners, right? But in the eyes of Asians, Westerners seem more defiant. We're more against. We're the ones that come against them. And we don't like to listen. We're more arrogant or whatever it is, right? Or we don't care about people. And I would say from the Asian perspective, that's what it looks like. I do think that from seeing how the Asian culture is, yeah, I can see how Western culture is seen in that way. I can totally see it. Like for me, if someone says no, I need a reasonable explanation. I'm not going to just accept it. Just because the leader said it is not enough for me. And if the reasoning is unreasonable, I'll argue it out. I'll try to make, hey, whoa, that doesn't make any sense. This totally doesn't make any sense. And I would find it very difficult if a leader just said no and they walked away. I'd be like, what? Wait, you better explain yourself, kind of thing. Because that's kind of more of the Western thinking, is we need explanation. And I think in Western countries, I don't think leaders have that type of power either. Because Westerners will not give that power to their leaders. Like, what does that mean? We will give the amount of power that is given, nothing beyond. And that is why Westerners like a manual. They want a manual. They want instructions. They want details, because it does matter. Like, one of the things the Westerners will ask is, what is the scope of your mission? Okay, so now you are this position. So what is the scope? What are the things you can touch and what are the things you cannot touch? Does being a leader mean you can do this or that? What can't you do? Because in Western society, we know that there is also corruption. We also know that people use their powers to take advantage of others. So that's why we're going to be asking, and we're going to be defiant when we don't agree. So for me, I look at this, I'm like, oh, it's so interesting just to see the difference between the two, and why the Western culture would be very, very defiant against the Asian culture for what, like, the different parts of it, and also why the Asian culture would look at the Western culture and say, oh my gosh, look at those Westerners again. Oh, they're so this, they're so prideful, they're so patriotic, they're so this or that. You know what I mean? What are your thoughts on this matter? That's what I'm interested in. What are your thoughts? Like, even for me, I'm in an Asian country right now, and coming from a Western culture, such stark differences in attitude and thoughts of members and leaders. It's so different. It's very, very different. It's really interesting to see the differences and to understand both sides. And like I said, there's nothing about what is better, right? Which side is better? It depends on the culture. It depends on what people are used to, what people are comfortable with, right? What I think was probably going to be the best or the most highly or the best way to do it is most likely a blend of each, like a blend of some of the Asian and Western culture. Like I think that's going to be the best leadership and member mentality and style is going to be on that. And that, that's kind of just my thoughts. That's what I think. And I want to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Just say that, oh, I'm from this country, and I agree with this, and I don't agree with this. Or it's not about agreeing or disagreeing. It's more about, oh, yeah, I am more comfortable with this. Yeah, this style is way more comfortable to me. It is, right? And I'll be like, yeah, I'm not comfortable with this. But for me, if I'm going to be in an Asian country, when in Rome, do as the Romans, right? So I'm just like, yeah, I may not agree with it, but that's their prerogative. They can do what they want, and I'm not here to change it, right? It's very interesting to me. Like so many times I'm just like, why? In my head, I want to just say, why? Why is it like this? And it's just, I guess part of it is I'm used to that type of society where discussion is such a big thing. And certain things, like for me, think about this, guys. I'm like 40-something. You're not going to have all of a sudden a leader say to me, oh, you can't do that. And I would not give them the power to do that. Now, of course, I'm obviously not talking about things that are sinful, right? If I'm going to meet someone, I'm going to meet them. I know myself, right? And yeah, I'm fine. I'm an adult. And I'm not going to allow someone to be like, no, you can't. I'll be like, whatever. You have no say in this type of matter in my life. You have no say whatsoever, kind of thing, right? And that might seem defiant, but in my mind, there's always limitations to what a leader can do or what power a leader has. They can't have power over my entire life. Like that's something that I look at and say, yeah, that's probably not something that you should be having power over, right? Now, if it's completely like a sinful thing, of course, that's something that they can point out, and then that would be a discussion. Like, oh, okay, that makes a little bit more sense, right? That would be a good discussion, right? And I looked at that. I was like, oh, that's not bad at all, right? So I think it's just different from person to person, but also culture to culture. But even for me, I'm just like, yeah, like I would love to have discussions of what would make the culture better. Do you know what I mean? Not about making the Asian culture better or the Western culture better, but more of a church culture. Like that's something I think that's very, very important. Very, very important. Because you can tell, sometimes people just have to look at your churches and to see what type of culture you actually have there. Because that culture is going to play such a huge role in how people interact, how people respect, how people take action. And I think it's something where we have to think about what type of culture. Do we have a restrictive culture? Do we have like a culture that's too strong? Do you have a culture that's too limiting? Do you have a culture that people will only be good inside church, but outside church because, does anyone have any control of someone outside of church? And the answer is absolutely not. And one thing I do know is if it's too strict inside, then they're going to have all their fun outside. But if you have a very, very good culture, very respectful, what's going to happen is they're going to take that culture to the outside because that's the culture they want to live in. They want to live in that type of culture, that type of lifestyle. And I think that's something that's really important for us to think about as leaders because culture starts from the top down. If you have a great culture, everyone loves it, people are going to take that culture and they're going to want it in every aspect of their life. But if it's a bad culture, if it's too restrictive or too strong, they're going to have fun and let themselves loose when they leave the church. And I think that's going to be more harmful, especially to the younger people too. So that's kind of one of the things I do think is a good a good thing that we can comment on over the weekend and say, yeah, that's something, that's a very interesting thought. What would be something like, this is something I'm comfortable with, but this is something that I'm not comfortable with. These are things that I would love to change. These are things that I think would be great also for the Western culture. And, I think this is something that would be a very, very good discussion topic in a lot of churches too. That's just my thoughts. Because I think one of the things that I find very disingenuous, and whenever I hear leadership talking this way, it makes me feel that it's just a power grab. It's just a reason why they want more power. For me, that's just from my perspective, is when they say, "Oh, our church is too immature." And I'm like, yeah, that's just a power grab for me. That just gives you the opportunity and the permission to do things the way that you want, because everyone else is immature except for you. And I would look at that and say that is one of probably the most disingenuous comments that I would hear, is they're too immature. I am totally against that. Like, I think that's something that when I hear that, there's an issue in leadership. That's what I think. Yeah. But so that's something that I do think we have to take a look at. And it's something that we do have to understand much better. And I do think that we have to get ourselves into a position where we can make everyone succeed really well, every church in every country also. Either way. For me, I'm going to have a wonderful weekend. And guess how it's going to start? It's going to be a relaxing weekend. And I'm going to start it off by teaching the history lesson today. It's going to happen in about a couple of hours. So I'm going to be preparing for the history lesson. And after that, probably just going to do a cafe hop. Just relax, settle my heart, get ready for Korea next week. What about you guys? What's in store for your weekend? I'm going to do the cafe hop. Not sure if I'll meet members or not, but definitely going to have a nice relaxing weekend before the big tournament, which is in a week. So guys, let me know what is on your thoughts, what's on your mind, and would love to hear what's going on in your life through the comment section. Okay? So next section, we do have the Wednesday message word study. So before we get into that, let's get into the first music break of the day.
2023. We've all come a long way. Many different stories, but we're all on the same journey. Many, many ups and downs, but we're all still around. Many, many, many lessons, but each one came with a blessing. Let's not forget for where we come from when we make this confession. Some people just want to watch the world burn. As for you and I, let's set ourselves on fire, shine a light so bright that will make the people say, burning life, Look at the flames in my eyes, watch it burn, but don't stare too long, you might lose your sight. Some people gunning for our downfall, but they'll never see our demise. Burning life. Who's the one? I'm the one, he's the one. Are you the one? No, we're the ones who keep the fire going till the day we die, till they see the light, make it bright, till we hear the people say, born sinner, never could be ill. I know I'm back from the dead, yeah, the Lord is my healer. I took the red pill, that's why I call him teacher. When you learn about the spirit, oh, there ain't nothing realer. The one you learn from determines your entire destiny. Learn from the one who taught about eternity. Cloud craving, paper chasing, the joy is only temporary. I don't wanna do the same thing, so I hide to count the vanity. I keep my eyes on the prize, I'll never sell my soul to the devil in disguise. With both hands on each side, I'm holding on to dear life. I keep my guard up, never back down. When it goes down, I call on the Christ. Spiritual battle, answer the call. It's Call of Duty, modern warfare, put the armor of God. They're fighting Lucy with a rock, I got atomic bombs. Love the Lord your God and all your brothers, watch the demons fall. Don't be deceived, know who the ops is. Keep the unity and peace, go far way across this. Came to preach the word of God like I'm born in Tarsus. Here to testify the things I've seen on road to Damascus. He's the real deal, the real thing, be glad you heard the King's speech. Blessed are those who reach the end and get to hear the Lord speak. GODs, POC, we fulfilled everything. Burning life, kerosene, burning life, legacy.
You will never see me stop in the future. The life that fulfills God's will continue. Everyone thinks I'm unfortunate because I go through suffering. But inside of me it's different. Because I walk the path of eternal life.
Burning life, Look at the flames in my eyes, watch it burn, but don't stare too long. You might lose your sight. Some people gunning for a downfall, but they'll never see our demise. Burning life, burning life. Who's the one? I'm the one, he's the one. Are you the one? No, we're the ones. We're the ones who keep the fire going till the day we die. Till they see the light, make it bright. Till we hear the people say, shish, shish, shish.
Like Mary poured out her perfume on Jesus' feet, I must pour out my heart, mind, and love on the one who saved me.
All right, so let's get into today's Wednesday message word study, and what a message it was yesterday. I hope you guys really enjoyed it. The brand new title and some new verses too. 1 second, as my file right now is loading up. All right, so Wednesday message word study. The new title, very, very similar. Even the blessings God permitted will be yours only if you value it, right? And I really, really enjoyed this message. And of course, once again, there's another theme that comes up. And you know it's in Sunsteam's mind a lot at this time. And I'm sure that there's probably new revelation. Not revelation like, receiving a vision or dream. But new revelation that Sunsteam's hearing about those that are coming against him or people that are leaving and stuff like that too. Because, these messages are all about the people that don't value it are the ones that leave. Right, so I really hope one of the things that I do think is a very a good marker of things we should pray for is it's the words that we hear every Sunday and Wednesday. I really feel that some of us may feel, man, it's getting so negative. It's always talking about the people that are leaving, this and that, right? But what I'm going to tell you is one of the greatest parts of listening to the message is understanding what is going on in Sunsteam's mind too. Like, what are the thoughts that he's having? What's the deep shimjung and the things that we need to pray for? And to know that Sunsteam's in this situation himself. He's in that situation, and this is what he's going through too. That's the deep shimjung that he has right now at the moment. And in order for us to really understand it well, we don't have that personal relationship where we're sitting down with Sunsteam and Sunsteam pours out his heart to us. We don't have that. We can't. Right now, it's impossible. And even when he was out, does anyone have that privilege? And the answer is very, very few. And this is where we understand that what Sunsteam is saying in the Sundays and Wednesday messages, you're going to find bits and pieces of his shimjung. And when you hear the messages talking about the people that left and this and that, you're going to realize more and more, wow, like Sunsteam it's really on Sunsteam's mind. It's a big struggle. It's something that Sunsteam looks at and says, wow, this is, we got to go through this and we got to go through that. And, Sunsteam's probably, he's probably so heartbroken from the situation. And how do we know? Because when our hearts get broken, is it broken for that moment and then all of a sudden we're okay for the rest of the week or the rest of the month? No, it depends, right? Imagine it's someone you truly, deeply loved so much, you took care of with all your heart, and then they go ahead and do all those things in 2023. Do you think that's going to just stick with you for like just that moment and then you're over it and you move to the next thing? No, it doesn't work that way. We realize more and more like, wow, this is how, this is true, the true history of love. And because Sunsteam poured his heart out and he's loved so many people, and he's treated them so well. He's given them the word. He's prayed for them. He's forgiven them. Like so many things. And then to have all these things happen and people that were very tight and close with him, I think it's just heartbreaking that it's going to last for a while. And every time he looks back at it, it's going to be such a heartbreak even to look at the pictures and such. So, yeah, it's something that I look at and I think to myself, like you got to pray when you see these messages. Pray knowing the Lord's shimjung. So this message comes from a pre-dawn revelation. And what happened was Sunsteam woke up at 1 a.m., then he went back to sleep. And then all of a sudden, I guess he saw in his dream, an opponent attacked him and just left. And then he woke up and then wrote today's, that day's Wednesday message. And it was about time. Like he woke up, he should have prayed, but he fell asleep again. And he said, if you lose time, you'll lose everything that pertains to that time. You cannot be victory. You cannot have victory. You cannot take back that time. You cannot do the things that only pertain to that time. You lose all of it. And that's why we have to be those that grab hold of the sword of time. Because that's the time where we can get the most amount of work done. That's the time we can get so many things we can get the blessings of that time too. And the only way that we're going, the theme of the Wednesday message is the way to be victorious of time is to value it. To value that time. Because the moment you value it, you cherish it, you know how precious it is, and then you will use it valuably. It's almost like, imagine you're in the desert and you only have 1 liter of water left. You value it, you cherish it. Every drop you savor, you make sure you don't run out. Because if you don't value it, then what happens? You use it in a way that is not valuable. Imagine that water, 1 liter left, and you're stuck in the desert. Imagine then you don't value that water, and you use that water to wash your face or use it to clean your boots. Like, come on, is that really the most important thing with the water? You have to value it. When you value time, you're going to do the work you need to do, and if you don't value it, you don't do the work. So I think one of the biggest things that he talked about is where we get into the people leaving is how much do you value the one that God sent? Because that's the biggest thing. If you value, then you'll treat him valuably. If you don't treat them valuably, then you just treat them like a regular ordinary person. Yeah, whatever. Oh yeah, he's here. Okay, whatever. I'm going to go back into my room, right? And it went even to the point where the message is like, yeah, same thing with God. And Sussie's talked about this before. And it's one of the reasons why God won't show himself. Because people will only be, wow, this is God in the beginning. But as life goes on, they're going to devalue God. And that's an even bigger sin. So that's why God doesn't show himself. So when I think it's something that we have to think about is, do we value God? Do we value the man of mission? And I would say, what would be a marker of knowing how much we value the man of mission? I think one of the big markers is how much you pray for him. I think it's a marker, because if you value, you'd want to pray for him. You'd want to make sure he's doing okay. You're thinking about him. You're praying for him. Like, I think that's one of the biggest ways you can show value for the one that God has sent, right? And if you take a look at just that one thing, then we can kind of adjust our lives and say, wow, I'm really not valuing the one God sent. So I got to pray more. I'm going to make sure that this is one of the very first prayers that I have, right? So, it's something where I think we can look at that for many things in our life too. Do we value time? Well, what do you do with it? Well, look at, I want to say this in a very, what's the right way? I want to say this in a way that's more generalized. Because when I say that if you value your time, then you wouldn't sleep that much. But technically speaking, I would say it means oversleeping. What's oversleeping? Oversleeping is everyone has a different body and a different cycle. And for some people, 5 hours is enough. Some people need 7 hours. For the person who has 7 hours, oversleeping is 7.5 hours, right? For someone where 5 hours is enough, then 6 hours is oversleeping. You know what I mean? So that's kind of what I mean by, if you value your time, you wouldn't oversleep. You wouldn't sleep that much, right? Over what you normally do, right? So that is something that I think that is probably the best way to look at it, so that we can value and have that interest in the one that God has sent, that will have that preciousness. So, if you look at it this way, the message was indirectly saying how much this person is valuable. It says, well, think about it. Do you really have no interest in someone who saved you? No interest in someone who allowed you to prosper and live eternally in heaven? I'm like, okay, that's the value. So if we want to take possession of anything, it's when you value it, right? When you value it, that's when we take possession of it. So, one of the greatest blessings from God, and this is something that we have to look at also, is God gives the thought of valuing. And I think that's something where it's a blessing where God doesn't say that, oh, I'll make you value it. No, He gives you the thought of valuing. I think that's completely different because God can't make you do something, but God will give you the thoughts, and it's going to be up to you. When you receive those thoughts, you're going to be like, oh man, I got to value this more, right? I got to pray for something more. I got to do this more. So I think it's something where this blessing from God, especially this week, we are all receiving the blessing of, we're all receiving the thoughts of valuing. Oh, we should value more. So there's a blessing God has given to each person. It's the heart of valuing something. It's that great blessing, right? And it's going to become yours only if we value it. And I hope it's something that we can really, really open our hearts to and understand. I think the most special, most incredible part of the message is, do you value the one that God has sent? And that's the one that we should be absolutely focused on more than all the other different things in our life. And that's number one. When it comes to us personally, of course, I also think one of the big things we should value is our health, like the body God has given us. Of course, God has blessed us with the eternal spirit that now that we're in this history lives eternally, but we also have to really, really value the physical body that we have. Physical body. I think one of the things that was in that first video, I didn't quite catch it completely, but it was like when you leave God, like you become ignorant because you're away from truth. But it's also like you become insensitive. That's interesting, don't you think? When you leave God, you become more insensitive. You become less capable. You become ignorant. Like the ignorant, it makes sense to me. But the insensitive, that's a very interesting one. That's something that I need to think about a little bit more. Is how is it when you don't believe in God or when you leave God, you become insensitive? Is it because you don't have the love of God? Like you don't have that love inside of you because God is love. And if you don't have that, then you're actually causing more, then because you lack that love, you cannot be as sensitive to people. Maybe that's it. That's possible, right? And yeah, I think the biggest thing that we'll probably struggle with in Providence is not so much we don't value, it's the matter of losing the value. Do you know what I mean? Like we value in the beginning, oh my gosh, this, like whenever you see people first come into this history and they're so in love with God, they're so like passionate. And then what the hardest part is when you start losing that heart, right? Losing the heart of value. I think that's where it gets a little bit difficult. And that's the thing that we struggle with a little bit more. And like, even if you gain a lot from valuing things, it's the moment you stop valuing things that these things are eventually taken away. Yeah, I like this one point, and I think this is something that everyone should take into consideration. There's money and fame. God's not saying it's bad. God's saying you'll gain them if you value them. Salvation, love, Lord, all of them. The spiritual and the physical, you gain them if you value them. You gain them if you value them. So yeah, that's something I looked at. I was like, yeah, this is very, very interesting that we have these types of things, and it makes me pretty. It makes me very thoughtful and self-reflect when it comes to this week's message about do you value? Are you valuing it, or are they going to be taken away? I think that second video was awesome when it gave the example of living in a desert. And in the beginning, what did he say? Like, you're going to be so curious of what the desert's like. You're so happy. You get to see that, it's beautiful out there too. You run anywhere. You can ski on the sand. But it's when the sandstorm comes, and they come often. It's when the nights are cold and when there's wild animals and you start to suffer. That's when you realize, like, whoa. And it's like, that's what it's like to forsake God. You go to the desert, there's nothing there. In the beginning, you're going to think you're happy and everything else. But the moment you forsake God is like you're going into that desert. So we have to use it valuably. Use what God has given us valuably. Love God. Don't forsake God. Because that's when we go into like that personal hell. Even if you think you're happy on your own, you go into that personal hell. So what God is saying is God is judging everyone that deviates from his laws. And he's like, hey guys, stop risking your lives on nothing. Like, these things are not worth risking your spiritual faith and your life. So it's something that I think that all of us can really gain a lot from. And that when you get to the end of the message, it's like God has chosen you among so many people because he loves you individually. Right? Everyone. And if you don't recognize that, how much God has chosen you, then it makes God upset and angry. Now, this is very interesting because Sunseem asked God, how long does it take to turn that heart back from being upset? And God says, more than 400 years. Now, that doesn't make sense if we're talking individuals. It's obviously talking about either the world or a country. Because what God is saying is you need to pay the price until you realize and rethink. And the first thought that came to my mind was, is he talking about Korea? Is like there going to be 400 years of that type of punishment in Korea because of what's happening? Like, that's the first thought that came to my mind. I'm not saying that's what's actually he's meaning. That's just like the first thought that came to, like, wow. Because 400 years is not for an individual, because we're not going to even live for a quarter of it, right? So when I thought about it, I was like, wow, it's talking about either a nation or the world. And when I think about nations, I think about Korea, because they're the ones doing this to the man of mission at this time period. So that was kind of a scary thought. It really was. And I was like, man, that's crazy. Remember when in the message, like God said there's 3 ways he treats people? There's the highest is the people I love, I treat them especially better than other people. Then there's the average love. And then there's those that deviated from the will. And then it's like, realize which one you are. And I think it's kind of more of a mirroring thing, right? I think God mirrors our love. So take a look at your love towards God and see where you end up on that 3 levels of that spectrum, right? And then he says, what are the 3 reasons I choose people? Number 1 is good hearts. Number 2, are they proactive? I think that's a good one too. And then last one, are they steadfast and trustworthy? And once again, realize which one you are. Realize which one you are. Right? So, yeah, a lot of things came out from this message. And it was mainly about, do you value or not? And I really, really enjoyed it. But so if people change and become more foolish, what does God do? Number 1, God gives you more love. But number 2, makes you drink the bitter cup. And I was like, whoa. And, one of the things that God says, and I think this is not just for those that are foolish, but it's those that are losing that value, is God makes us drink that bitter cup often so that we will not lose what is sweet. Once it's lost, it's over. And I thought to myself, it's like, yeah, maybe this is why I'm going through this bitterness this week. And I need it. I need it so that I don't lose what is sweet. I think that's something that kind of brings my heart back to where I should be with God. Hey, what about that one thing when Sunsi talked about Wonmyeongdong? Like, this is the last thing I'll talk about. Is like, I was like, God says he will harm those who put their hands on Wonmyeongdong. I'm like, is there someone doing that right now? Or is there like some plan by the government or something like that for them to take like, I don't know what's going on. I'm just making a guess, but I'm like, why would Sunseem say that unless that was either being planned or it's happening right now? So when I heard that, I was like, what? That's kind of crazy. So that's something that, kind of have to keep our thoughts on and stuff like that too. So everyone, I hope that we can have the heart of valuing, know that it's a great blessing from God, and let's not lose things because we don't realize how precious they are or we lost the value for them. All right? So there it is, guys. That is today's Wednesday message word study. Hope it's something that you guys really enjoyed. And if you guys have any questions or comments, go ahead and leave them below. All right? So before we get into Until the End with Daniel Baker, let's get into today's final music break of the day.
Yeah, Providence represents Sierra Leone, West Africa. The rapture's time has come, the rapture's time has come, the rapture's time has come, cause the bridegroom has come. The rapture's time has come, the rapture's time has come, the rapture's time has come, cause the bridegroom has come. The rapture's time has come, the rapture's time has come, the rapture's time has come, cause the bridegroom has come. The rapture's time has come and now we're leaving happily with our family, cause we realize wonderfully. The rapture's time has come and now we're leaving happily with our family, cause we realize wonderfully. The rapture's time has come, the rapture's time has come, the rapture's time has come, cause the bridegroom has come. The rapture's time has come, the rapture's time has come, the rapture's time has come, cause the bridegroom has come. The rapture's time has come, the rapture's time has come, the rapture's time has come, cause the bridegroom has come. This is the time of the rapture, our spirit is to rapture. We reckon history together in this mission. We receive the new words, we receive the good words through the man of mission that receive the vision, that receive the wisdom and get all the passion. And get all the passion in this mission, cause our God is the God of life, not a God of death. The providence is to make sure we represent, to become a bride who listens to the word of right. Come on, now there is the word of life, there is the word of life. The rapture's time has come, the rapture's time has come, the rapture's time has come, cause the bridegroom has come. The rapture's time has come, the rapture's time has come, the rapture's time has come, cause the bridegroom has come. The rapture's time has come, the rapture's time has come, the rapture's time has come, cause the bridegroom has come.
The rapture's time has come. If you're still waiting, ladies, it's better hear this one. Christ has come to the man on mission. Some sound hit this one and take action. You living out stuck, you better wake up and take this mission and stop. Let's move, come on, let's set this fall. Cause us this vision we must fulfill, say.
The rapture's time has come, the rapture's time has come, the rapture's time has come, cause the bridegroom has come. The rapture's time has come, the rapture's time has come, the rapture's time has come, cause the bridegroom has come. The rapture's time has come, the rapture's time has come, the rapture's time has come, cause the bridegroom has come.
Because of the rapture now we are in joy, so never for life to be destroyed. So now I can say, so now I can say, so now I can say, believe in joy, believe in joy. So now I can say, believe in joy. So now we are raptured.
The rapture's time has come, the rapture's time has come, the rapture's time has come, cause the bridegroom has come. The rapture's time has come, the rapture's time has come, the rapture's time has come, cause the bridegroom has come. The rapture's time has come, the rapture's time has come, the rapture's time has come, cause the bridegroom has come. The rapture's time has come and now we're living happily with our family, cause we realize wonderfully. The rapture's time has come and now we're living happily with our family, cause we realize wonderfully. The rapture's time has come, the rapture's time has come, the rapture's time has come, cause the bridegroom has come. The rapture's time has come, the rapture's time has come, the rapture's time has come, cause the bridegroom has come. The rapture's time has come, the rapture's time has come, the rapture's time has come, cause the bridegroom has come.
Okay, so let's get into our final segment for today and the entire weekend. Of course, we have Until the End with Daniel Baker. Everyone, I hope you guys are enjoying his segments that he's doing every single week. Make sure you drop a comment for him. He'd love to hear from you guys too. Everyone, all the way over there from Korea, this is Daniel Baker with Until the End.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the Do It Until the End podcast. I hope everyone is having an amazing week with the Trinity, and let's have an amazing end to the week together. Now, today I'm just going to talk about one realization that I think can really help you guys, because we as people tend to have a plan, right? And we make this plan and we build different plans on top of those plans, and there are many times where the situation changes, right? And you might not know why the situation changed or why God set you on a different path. But when you realize, how much God really helped you through changing whatever plan you had, you will be very thankful at the end, right? So, how did I get this realization? I got this realization today because originally the team I was supposed to caddy for, I showed up and they said they didn't want a caddy, right? So, to be honest, it was like a really good time. It was like 5:40 tee off. That means I ended the day around 10 p.m., right? However, I didn't get that, God really didn't want me to caddy for that team, apparently. And, I got moved to the 7 p.m. tee off, right? And the 7 p.m. tee off everyone does not like this tee off time because, number one, because on average, one round of golf of 18 holes is around 4 hours. That means that you're finishing around 11 to 11:30. And then if the course is very, if there's a lot of delay on the different teams like today was on the course, then you have a situation when you finish at 12. And that was like me today. I finished at 12 p.m., right? And so I was like very, very like, God, why would you give me into this situation? I was, ending very late. I'm just going to sleep pretty late also. And I also have this podcast to record, right? So I was like, God, why did this happen? But, overall today I had a very big concern, right? I actually hit my ankle on one of the bags that, the golf bag that I used during my work. And I was like limping because of that pain, right? And there's a lot of swelling and everything. So I was really worried about even getting through the 4 to 5 hour caddying session I had to do. So I was really worried and I was praying to God, like, send the right people to, because if you find the right people and you meet the right people, you really don't need to do as much. Some people, they're so clueless. They don't know how to play golf that you really have to take care of them. Means you have to run a lot. But, I was praying to God, like, God, please, because of my ankle, like, please send the right people. And, originally I was, at the 5:40 o'clock tea time, but I changed to the 7 p.m. And the amazing thing that happened was, even though at first I was really down and everything, I was caddying for 4 other caddies, right? And what the amazing thing is about that situation is usually when caddies come over to the golf course, they know so much, and they're able to be so fast. Like, their play is so fast that you really don't need to do anything, right? Just drive, clean the clubs, very stationary things, right? And because my ankle was so bad, I kind of didn't. I was in a situation where I didn't need to walk or run too much. So I was like, wow, even though I had a plan of, finishing work at 10:30, going home, eat, sleep at a decent time, do the podcast at a decent time, and, maybe even study a couple hours, even though my original plan was, God didn't want me to go down that path because he found, or he saw a different opening for me. He made me meet other people, so my situation was better, right? So I just want to say, don't be too down that a situation or your plan has changed, because God clearly knows the reason why that plan has changed, and you'll ultimately find out why God changed that plan in the future you'll realize why God changed that plan. So really don't feel too down, don't have any like doubt or anything like that, but stick to the plan and follow God's path. Okay? Yeah, that's all I have for you guys today. I hope everyone has an amazing rest of the week together with the Trinity. And to everyone who is going until the end, let's walk this path together. Peace out, guys. Bye-bye.
And thank you so much, Daniel, for another wonderful episode of Until the End. Big prayers go out to you as you're in caddy school at the moment. Hope everything works out in your favor. Everyone, I hope you guys have an amazing and awesome weekend. And we'll see you guys again on Monday on the Morning Star Drive on 117.8.
It's the Morning Star Drive 117.8. You soaring up with sky, now's the time, don't delay. I'm sitting in my ride and it's time to fly. So let's realign, just listen and fill your mind.
I'm burning with desire and the passion. Nobody can stop me when I'm